Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to a new video. So today guys, I wanted to do my review of Doom the Dark Ages since I finally got to play it on Xbox Game Pass with Ultimate on my Xbox One S. Now unfortunately one of the downsides to this is that I had to play this with cloud gaming because I do not own a Series S or a Series X, but I still had fun nonetheless. So first thing I wanted to mention is the gameplay modifier, since that's the thing I noticed right off the bat when I started playing the game. The gameplay modifiers make it so customizable to play the game, and I think that's actually a really nice aspect to be able to basically decide how you want to play the game, whether you want it to be a super hard experience where you have to battle to the nail, through every single fight that you encounter, or you can make it super easy and just ultimately destroy every single enemy with one shot. And I decided to kind of do the easy route. I did start out at 1,000, but then I decided to kind of turn it down a little bit because it seemed like it was way too easy. So I started in 300 plus, and that was actually a pretty decent damage range for me, because you could actually choose how much damage you do, how much the parry window is, demon, the stun, how long the demons stay stunned for, and that's actually a really cool little aspect that they added to the game, which I thought was pretty cool. The combat was actually very fun. Of course, I didn't think I was gonna actually like it all that much, but of course it's Doom. You always love the combat. The shield saw is awesome. The mace was cool. I especially loved the super shotgun. That's probably still one of my favorite guns from the Doom franchise. The pulverizer and I think the Ravager, which are basically like the minigun variant, the one that throws skull bits, was actually pretty powerful. It's actually a pretty good way to clear a room, I've found. But it was a lot of fun to play this. The combat and of course the music was awesome as well. You just feel like you're just wrecking through everything. It's kind of like funk music. Like if I was to listen to funk music while playing this, like that would be even more cool. But the Doom soundtrack is still always a plus. It always feels badass, and you just love tearing through demons with it. Now, like I said, because of the cloud gaming, it gave it a pretty crappy, well, not crappy, but my friend said it's kind of like a VHS filter. It kind of felt like I was watching someone play Doom Eternal on YouTube in 480p, basically, is what it felt like when I was playing this on my TV. And I have a 55-inch TV that does 4K. That's pretty much what it felt like. There were some stuttering every now and then, but it didn't make it unplayable. It was playable just every now and then. If you had a surge in your internet or something like that, it would surge a little bit, but not much. So it was actually very doable. But of course, because I own a Xbox One S, I cannot play it, and I cannot actually own it on my system, which is a bummer. But I also didn't want to actually buy this game initially because I didn't want to play plus $70 for this game, because honestly, to me, most games now are becoming too expensive, and that's out of the reason why I'm not playing a lot of new games nowadays, because it just costs too much money. It's not beneficial to me, and I'd rather play it with Game Pass or Ultimate or whatever, if I can get it on a Steam sale. Steam is another place where I get my games on discount. But for right now, I played this with Ultimate for $20 a month, so I think it was worth it. And I've got plenty of other games I can play. Now, aside from that, I think one of my two favorite sequences that I liked were the Titan sequences, or the Atlan sequences, if you want to call it, where you got to battle as the fight as an Atlan and destroy Titans, which is one of my favorite things about this game, was because I always saw how big the Titans were in Eternal, and I thought, man, how cool would it be to just wreck one of those things? And of course we got to finally do it in this game, because the Titans, to me, are one of the more terrifying versions of demons in this game. The smaller demons, they're not scary. To me, I like the Titan. The Titan design is the coolest to me personally. And of course, my next one was the dragon sequences, or Surratt, where you got to actually play as Surratt, or you got to ride Surratt and use the mounted turrets on the dragon, and it was so cool. It felt like, you know, you were playing in, just the aerial aspect of it was awesome. You know, getting to take down hell cruisers and stuff like that. It felt awesome. So one of the downsides that I would say that I didn't personally like was the short chapters. Some of the chapters felt like they were a little too short. Like, that's another thing that I wanted to mention with my two favorite chapters tiles were the Titan or the Atlan sequences and the Dragon sequences. They felt like they were too short. Like, felt like they could have been a little bit, not a little bit longer, but should have had more to, more fleshed out and more, to do. And it might also be because, I was playing on an easy difficulty, so I was able to tear through the chapter very quickly. I was able to get it done within, 20 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, so it made it feel really short, but I still loved it all the while. And aside from short chapters, there were some chapters, like when you got to, like the old one where you went to, the other realm. Some of them felt like they were unnecessary, but of course, it's Doom. You have to have part of the story. Some of them were like really short chapters, like 10 minutes long, and it felt like, why was this needed to be put in the game? It was kind of after you met the old one and you released him. Like, where you got some of the shorter chapters where they felt like it wasn't really needed. But, that's okay. Collectibles wise, I did not do a lot of collecting in this game. I mostly just ran through the game because I wanted to experience the gameplay. I do plan on going back and collecting all of the collectibles, because I know I wanted to do that after I beat the game, because that's how I am. I always I get the collectibles after I've beaten the game once, and then I go back and I do it all again. Another thing that I didn't actually do a whole lot was upgrading my guns. I didn't really upgrade them a whole lot in this game because, of course, I didn't do any of the side quests or anything like that, or I didn't look for hidden areas. So I ended up not finding a lot of gold, so I couldn't actually use the Sentinel Shrines as much to actually upgrade my weapons as much. But I really feel like I didn't need to upgrade them because of the gameplay modifiers. It actually felt like I was able to get through the sequences very easily on, complete pure, unupgraded weapons because of just how easy you can make the game for yourself. With my plus 300 attack, my damage was, I didn't really need to upgrade anything, and I still love that idea of playing it like that because, I think as Doom guy, this guy is a badass. You should be able to tear through these guys with no issue. Now, if you want to play it on Ultra Nightmare, you have fun with that. That's not how I play. If I do decide to play on Ultra Nightmare, I'm going to play on Steam with cheat codes. Because, yeah, I'm not putting myself through hell like that, literally, just to unlock a skin or something like that. And also, I don't think that the skins that they do have for unlock for the game, even on Ultra Nightmare, are not that good. Hopefully they add maybe the zombie skin, like we got to see, or the Undead Slayer that we got to play as a skin in future DLC. That'd be pretty cool. But there is really no way to tell what they're gonna add. So, but we'll see. But for me personally, I still think the game was a lot of fun. I would give it about an 8 out of 10. I think Eternal was a little bit better. I still liked this story. I feel like there could have been more scenes with the Slayer. I like how we actually got to see him interacting with people, even though it wasn't really, much of him interacting, but we got to see a little bit more of his backstory. But I hope we actually get to see more in future DLCs and stuff like that. Because that's the one thing I really liked about Eternal, is that we got to see the Slayer in the Ancient Ones DLC. We got to see the Slayer interacting with other people, and feel it like it has more life to it. So yeah, but yeah, guys, that is my review of Doom: The Dark Ages. I know it's not really good. I don't really know how to do reviews that well. Basically, I'm just watching my gameplay back as I say this. I don't have a script or anything. I literally have some of the things written down of what I wanted to cover, and I covered pretty much all of them. So yeah, so all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing it. Like I said, even though I had to do it with cloud gaming, it still was a fun experience, you know. And as always, you know, Doom is always a badass sequence, you know, or a badass series. And I can't wait to see what they're gonna make in the future, you know, because I mean, I know Call of Duty's making games already. They already have Black Ops 7 coming out, so I wonder when they're gonna make the next Doom game, you know. And hopefully they actually kind of go back to even the original Doom and bring back the Slayer and his Marine form. You know, we get to actually see cutscenes of him in that style. That would be really cool to see. So yeah. So anyways, guys, thank you guys all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.